Beacon Mess Hall. John and Lilith carry their lunch and made their way to RWBY and NPR's table. Young. So how's it like being a single-parent buckethead? John. Well, it is difficult at times, but Lilith is one of the reasons I enjoy life. Lilith. Yep, Papa brings me on his adventures. John told Lilith to refer to his bounty hunting as adventures as to not cause attention. Nora. Boo. Boo. Can you tell me about it? Lilith excitedly says Papa beat a whole bandit tribe. Everyone looks at John surprised. John. Honey, I told you not to share my missions in public. Lilith looks dejected and say, I'm sorry, Papa. John. It's alright as long as you learn, honey, he said as he pays her head. Blake smiles at the exchange. Weiss. Do you bring your daughter in dangerous situations? John. Well, excuse me, not everyone can afford a house to live in. And besides, we've been traveling. Weiss, although offended by the sass, but understands not everyone has an easy money like her. Everyone was getting along until they heard a scream. Velvet. Ow. Please stop. The group looks over to the same rude idiot pulling on a rabbit faunus ear. John was immediately enraged. To be at Beacon is to be trained as an elite protector, and this moron is bullying a student. Hurrah! How despicable. Weiss. You got that right. Everyone glares but don't do anything. Blake just couldn't expose herself but felt ashamed and powerless. Then John stood up and marched towards the group, shocking the teams. John. You call yourself a huntsman? Cardan. What, you an animal lover or something? John then proceeds to grab Cardan's hand and breaks it, making him let go of Velvet. Cardan. Arg, get him. Then John teaches them a lesson. John. A huntsman protect the helpless, not abuse them. He turns to the girl and asks, John, are you alright? Velvet. Yeah. John saw her bruise and held out his hand toward her ear. She recoiled, but John eases her worries. John. Let me look at it. Velvet nods. John's hand glowed white and touched her ear. A warm sensation could be felt and her ear is healed. Velvet. Why would you do that for me? I'm a faunus. John. It's a huntsman's duty to help those in need. Velvet smiles. Glinda enters the mess hall. Glinda. What is going on here? John. This team were bullying and harassing a student and I, in an act of defense, stood up for her. Glinda just sighed, but understood the moral compass the Mandalorians possessed and just expected something like this to happen. Deciding to punish only Team CRDL, she carries them out of the mess hall and into the infirmary. They continued their day with RWBY mimicking John's heroics. A while later. Combat class. Glinda. Alright, the next fight will be between Cardan Winchester and John Arc. Cardan leaves to get ready. As John leaves, Lilith pulls on his sleeve. Lilith. Good luck, Papa. John. Love you too, honey, but remember there is no such thing as luck. The class look on surprise as the student has a daughter present and a faunus at that RDL took notice and thought to inform Cardan by scroll. Jaune left to get his equipment. The two emerged from the locker rooms. Cardan with a smirk. Glinda, okay, you both know the rules. If your aura goes to red or you get sent out of the ring you lose, understood? Jaune nods. Cardan, yeah whatever. Glinda just glares at Cardan. Glinda, match begin. The two circled one another. Cardan losing his patience attacks first. Jaune easily dodges the sloppy attacks and he retaliates by using his Beskar sword. Finally, having enough of being bashed around, decided to get under Jaune's skin. Cardan, so a little birdie told me something nice. Jaune, Cardan, I know why you care for those freaks. You impregnated one and got an abomination as a child. Jaune stood still. Blake suddenly felt so much anger. No one could tell what thoughts are going through his mind. Wearing his helmet, no one could tell what expression he had, but teams RWBY and PNR could feel a murderous intent radiating from Jaune. Lilith from the tables yelled, "Leave my papa alone." Cardan, seeing the reaction, decided to press his luck and taunted even further. Cardan, looks like you didn't teach that brat any manners. I'll teach her how to respect us humans by beating the lesson into her head. Glinda heard everything, decided to stop the match until she saw Ashpin at the doorway, who signaled her to let it continue. Jaune first removed his sword, his holsters, his jetpack, his vambraces, and his helmet. Glinda was about to protest the action, but was met with the most terrifying glare. She stopped. Jaune, by Mandalorian law, a threat to our family must be met by ancient unarmed combat. Cardan smiles and thought his victory is secured. Fighting unarmed is suicide. Cardan, oh, so you think? He was cut off by a punch with blinding speed. Jaune proceeded to quickly destroy Cardan, slowly but surely broke every bone with a sickening crunch that fills the air, with Cardan screaming for help. Glinda was stopped by Ashpin interfering. Jaune, towering over Cardan's broken form, and looks at the whole class and spoke. Jaune, I know racism doesn't care who it preys upon, but if I hear anyone threaten or treats, whisper or gossip about my daughter being a faunus. Points to Cardan. Jaune, this is my answer. The whole class shivers at the intensity of his glare. Then he left the arena.